Go ahead.
We good?
Yeah.
Alright. Where were we? Informing citizens about matters makes part of them to inform them about others. To take an example, even during the first 6 months of its public life, the Clinton-Lewinsky debacle dominated media discussion, and this pushed other important policy proposals out of media spotlight. These included proposals on social security, health insurance, and campaign finance reforms, and also attempts to explain the US position on Iraq and its preparation for military action. Although increased public scrutiny on our leaders have caused greater accountability of their actions, such a transition of societal interest affects a political leader's confidence and his convictions in his decisions, and ultimately the quality of his leadership. I contend that the increased public scrutiny placed on these leaders has not only affected the quality of leadership over the last few years, but has inhibited the political process by distracting citizens from more important questions of policy and performance. When deciding whether to publicise what would otherwise be private conduct, or when judging such decisions made by others, including the press and officials themselves, the key question concerns the effects on accountability. Is the conduct the type which citizens generally need to know in order to hold officials in this position accountable? If more citizens, journalists, and officials themselves will consider these questions seriously and more regularly restrain their predilection for publicity when they cannot honestly answer them in the affirmative, we might notice some improvements, not only in the quality of these leaders and the democratic discourse within many societies, but also in the overall governance of a nation. Now I'm going to pass on to Shruti to do quick conclusion.
Perfect. So as you can see, we see a general trend because of the increased use of technology that our leaders are scrutinised a lot more now than they were in the past. So now we want you guys to scrutinise us. Thanks. Any questions? Yeah, Ben.
So, do you think there's any way to actually go backwards and to scrutinize with technology?
I actually don't think so. I think, in fact, it might even get worse. I think it's pretty bad with smartphones particularly. But I think it can only get worse from here because as blogs increase in popularity, they're still increasing right now. So
I also think it reflects a lot on what society wants to hear about.
Right.
If they want to hear more about personal lives rather than, I don't know, what these leaders are actually achieving. So until that changes, I don't think we can go back.
Now, do you think that celebrities deserve to have these barriers which protect them from some recent behaviour? Or is that their financial?
that's actually a really good question. And I think people and celebrities who have been in the public eye for a long time are looking at that and think that's really interesting because they're asked about that right now. But I think for them, I've seen a lot of interviews and they were saying that it is just so bad right now, and a lot of them are doing less movies. I mean, look at Angelina Jolie and Brad Pitt. They do different types of movies and that sort of thing to get away from the public eye. So while I do sign up for it, and I get that, I think the fact is it's so bad right now that they're losing a lot of aspects of privacy that they wouldn't have lost 20 years beforehand, 10 years beforehand. But yes, they do sign up for it.
Okay.
Do you think one of the reasons that we treat leaders from the past and the present differently is the idea that, like, as time shifts and, like, they fade into the past, our impressions of them change, so we might let go of, like, hard feelings and focus purely on the positives? So, like, with Lance Armstrong, like, as he fades into the distance and new leaders emerge and he becomes a past leader, we'll look at him differently to what we see now?
That could be true. The only thing is, camera, if their treatment, when we weren't looking at in the presentation, the treatment of leaders and the treatment of past leaders now and the treatment of past leaders, as in we were looking at how they were treated at the time. Yeah, and so it doesn't matter, to look back in hindsight, because obviously at the time, there wasn't that much coverage of Marilyn Monroe and Audrey Hepburn, and now they have so many movies about them. We meant how they were treated by their society at the time.
Jenna, do you think it's almost too much to ask
for politicians who are like not only good leaders but upright in their own private lives, or do you think it's irrelevant, their private lives, to how good they are as a leader?
I think that there's definitely, obviously you can learn more about someone's character by observing them in kind of private than observing them in the public. However, I do think that if we kind of put more weight on their morals as opposed to their ability to get the job done, then we're actually kind of depriving our society. And so you need to think, I guess, of a leader, not to be lame, but leadership is the skills that someone possesses at a certain time. And so I don't think that we should let go of a leader because they made a human mistake or a lapse of judgment at one moment.
Yeah, to build on Jenna, especially with politicians, when we, as a democracy, pick someone to lead our nation, we're not picking them on whether they smoke weed at the age of 17 or who they go home with at night. That's not why we pick them to lead. We pick them to get a job done. And I think that if they're getting that job done, that media attention should really leave that be. And they should really more scrutinise their actual job being done and what policies they're putting through, rather than what they did 10 years ago.
Thanks.
Thank you.